What's up and welcome back, Raptors Digest. With COVID protocols sweeping through our lineup, I wanted to take a moment to now discuss the future of our team. Many people, myself included, have found themselves fairly underwhelmed by some of Pascal Siakam's play this season. Much of the criticism has been fair, as Pascal has been relatively inefficient and continues to pick up a plethora of personal fouls and turnovers as our primary option. But I promise, this is not another video pushing the Pascal trade narrative. After doing some deeper research, I feel that Masai Ujiri is not likely to trade the star anytime soon, and that 2023-24 season will be a key turning point. There are a few reasons for this, but I'll start with some of the most important, such as the financial breakdown of our team's contracts. I've personally had moments of confusion over how to handle Pascal Siakam and his maximum contract, but in reality, there is no imminent rush, at least money-wise. At this moment, our core 5 players seem to be OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., Scottie Barnes, Fred VanVleet, and of course Pascal Siakam. OG and Gary will be making near identical annual rates of $18 million and $17.2 million respectively from the Raptors over the next few seasons, which by all indication represents some solid value contracts. Both players are represented by Rich Paul and his Clutch Sports agency, which, as Dennis Schroeder and Nerlens Noel could attest to, has somewhat of a toxic reputation of highballing contracts to potentially harmful extents with teams. Thankfully, Masai and Clutch Sports found some very reasonable common ground. Although OG is locked up at this rate, Gary will have the player option on his contract for the 2023 free agency class, which I do likely see him exercising. We won't dive too deep into that situation, but I'll just say I'm optimistic the Raptors could re-up his term with a contract paying out, let's say, $22 to $24 million annually. This would put him into a similar earnings tier to players like Fred VanVleet, Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield, and Mike Conley. In other words, it's the just sub-all-star category, but don't sleep on Gary or Fred. Anyways, when it comes to our veterans, Fred VanVleet's $22 million and Pascal Siakam's $38 million whopping annual wages will be coming off the books in 3 seasons. This means Fred and Siakam will be entering the 2024 free agency class as bona fide 30-year-old NBA veterans. Fortunately, it will not be until this offseason that Scottie Barnes becomes eligible to receive the rookie max extension, and that outcome seems almost certain at this point, and I think I speak for all Raptors fans when I say regardless of the price tag, I hope Scottie Barnes flourishes to the maximum amount of starhood possible. So from a contractual standpoint, even if Scottie Barnes reaches his utmost potential, there is little pressing need to impulsively offload Siakam today, tomorrow, or really at any point in the immediate future. By the 23-24 season, perhaps his value as a rental asset would warrant dealing him some point in the preseason or at trade deadline, but there is no guarantee of that either. And yes, I do feel like his value likely increases as a rental because he is relatively overpaid for his current statistical outputs, which makes contract term a little intimidating. Yet we know he is a championship level player when approaching the game as a second or third option, which is a situation that a contender ideally offers. Regardless of what happens, that window is the most likely period I see the Raptors dealing Pascal Siakam, because it will mark Scottie Barnes' 3rd season in the NBA, which obviously means contractually something happening that offseason, but is also a very important thing to remember performance-wise. Although he is already an outstanding player, even legends such as Kevin Durant and LeBron James could not crack the playoffs until their 3rd season. Take the transcendence of Ja Morant as an active example, as his 3rd season in the NBA has transformed him into an all-star level player who can impact winning, and he is currently poised to take home the Most Improved award. Also, apart from Magic Johnson, who won Finals MVP as a rookie, the other earliest players to do so were all in their 3rd seasons, including Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, and Magic again. In summary, it seems that the 3rd season is a pivotal leap for young players bound for stardom, and logically, the following offseason is their first opportunity to receive a maximum contract. We can only hope that Scottie Barnes asserts himself in a similar way to these legends, who he actually often draws comparisons to, and I believe his 3rd season will mark the turnover of our current veteran core as they get set for free agency that offseason. Even though our core 5 contract situation seems to pan out pretty nicely, I know what you're thinking. Josh, we don't have a center yet. How are we going to acquire that? Trade, free agency? The answer is yes, of course we still need this center, yet neither possibility, whether it be a trade or a free agency signing, point to Pascal as an asset which necessarily needs to move. At this moment, many fans are hoping Masai Ujiri can leverage Siakam into a trade return from Indiana, which potentially includes Miles Turner or Domantas Sabonis. Albeit possible, it seems very unlikely that the Pacers are looking to swap front court pieces for a much older Pascal Siakam as they head straight for a rebuild. In terms of outside interest, the Warriors were reportedly quote-unquote enamored with the idea of acquiring Pascal Siakam this past offseason, and early on there was a prospect that pieces such as James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and or draft compensation could actually get the deal done. However, with forward Andrew Wiggins currently playing like an all-star, there is now far less need for the Warriors to aggressively seek an upgrade, if you could even call it that anymore. To put it plainly, there isn't a very lucrative market for Pascal Siakam at this moment in time. Of course, this could change really at any moment, and it has a little bit already, especially when he becomes a rental asset in 2023-24, as we've been talking about this whole video, but in the meantime, I really doubt Masai moves him anywhere. People may be quick to forget. Once this season is over, close to $25 million in cap space will be coming off the books, with the contracts of Goran Dragic and Chris Boucher expiring. Additionally, players such as Scottie Barnes, Malachi Flynn, Delano Banton, and Precious Achiuwa will continue to be paid out on affordable rookie contracts throughout all of next season. This gives Toronto some free agency money to spend without clearing out contracts and potentially allowing the Raptors to address their glaring need at center. So with that added liquidity there's nothing telling me that Pascal Siakam needs to move in order to make the center of the future happen for the Raptors. Notable upcoming big man free agents include Jusuf Nurkic, Jonas Valanciunas, Thomas Bryant, and Mitchell Robinson. Of course, there are many others, but these are just a few that I think Masai will be reaching out to and keeping his eye on. But there are many FAs, and in the meantime, I don't think he feels pressured to do anything drastic to the roster. The Raptors are almost at 500 as one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and Masai knows their top player won't be fully emerged for at least a couple more seasons. And much to the pleasant surprise of Raptors fans, Pascal Siakam and Scottie Barnes have been complementary pieces when playing together. Many envision this leading to an awkward conflict for minutes between the two power forwards, but let me be clear about one thing. As much as I am hard on Pascal Siakam, he is a top-notch person, and I don't think he has a malicious bone in his body. As for the rookie, part of the reason the Raptors drafted Scottie Barnes was due to his glowing review on his personality and the presence as a teammate. There has been no hard feelings between the two, and their chemistry is something visible on the court and even lately in the media.
That's my favorite player, really good player. I was in the stands, I saw him. I just wanted to touch his hand. It's a good moment for me. Just the amount of hard work and effort he puts in every single day. He comes to the gym extra early. And then when you just see him on the court, he's just really good. Be able to get to the spot, score. He also is a great defender.
This dynamic has been nothing but constructive for the Raptors, and since they're two big men that really know how to play make for their position, it's been a lot of fun to watch. I don't think Masai Ujiri has any plans of dealing Pascal Siakam until that contract season in 23-24, but even then, what if third season Scottie is as special and good as we hope he is? Good enough to be a bona fide number one, which was clearly the case for many other NBA stars who we often compare him to. Well, at that point, Pascal can comfortably go back to his support role, which helped Toronto win a championship in 2019. With Scottie more developed and less pressure on Pascal, this would be a really great situation to be in, and maybe go ahead and throw JV in as a free agent sweetener this upcoming summer. I mean, a man can dream, and at least I sleep well at night knowing we already have a star in the making with Scottie Barnes. There really is no argument for Toronto to run back to the lottery looking for that guy, since we cashed out on Scottie in last year's draft. Trust me, wins will mean more for development at this point in time. The current financial structure of this young core will allow them to gradually develop, and Masai can take his time pursuing complementary free agents. Really, there is no crazy rush on this, and it won't be until that third season for Scottie that we start to feel the pressure to go check on rentals, see how we can make ourselves better for long playoff runs. But in the meantime, let's feel it out, not mismanage assets, and let Masai Ujiri make the correct decisions. So, Raptors fans, as much as I've been frustrated with our situation over the past 2 seasons, let's not act like we haven't been here before. The future is bright, it's clear that Masai has a rather lenient plan, and we are playing back in Canada, flirting with a postseason play-in spot. It's certainly not all negative at the moment. There is a small chance an opposing GM extends a disproportionate trade offer for Pascal Siakam, but it seems like many of his best suitors have been eliminated from trade talks. I see Masai's master plan really taking hold in that 2023-24 season, where Pascal is likely to be traded or retained for a championship run in Toronto. Either way, that will be the big moving of pieces that season. There is so much left to be determined, but I am starting to see our general direction a bit more clearly. 2024 is that pivotal year, and the Raptors fans should relax in the meantime and enjoy watching this team embrace its growing experiences on its way back to contention. If you've watched to this point, I want to thank you so much for tuning into our video and definitely encourage you to leave a comment below on what you think of my structure for this team, where the assets are likely to fall, and what to do with Pascal Siakam. You guys have heard my take. Of course, I've had my moments of being branded as a Pascal hater, but my appreciation for him as a player in person is ultra high. I'm just always trying to be realistic about asset management, but I'm not always correct. You guys get in the chat, let me know where I went wrong or right, and I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I'm signing off.